Investor Shed Podcast with Nick Beveridge and Jeremy Kitchen. They're on the path to financial freedom and they're taking their community with them. Stay tuned for the best free real estate investing advice on the internet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Investor Shed Podcast. I'm Nick Beveridge, joined, as always, by my co-host, Jeremy Kitchen.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. And we've got an exciting topic today that's been a game changer for us.
That's right, Jeremy. Today, we're diving into the world of artificial intelligence, or AI, and discussing how it's revolutionized the way we do business in real estate and investment landscape.
Processing. Absolutely, Nick. We're going to explore how AI tools have enhanced our efficiency, decision-making, and even our customer interactions. It's incredible how these advancements are shaping the future of our industry.
Indeed, Jeremy. From analyzing market trends to streamlining our daily operations, we'll share our firsthand experiences with AI. We've seen a significant shift in how we manage everything from property valuations to client communications.
I concur, and it's not just us. We'll also talk about how AI is becoming an essential tool for real estate investors and agents everywhere, making processes faster, more accurate, and let's be honest, a lot more interesting.
Plus, we have not forgotten about the personal touch in our business. We'll discuss how balancing technology with our unique human skills is key to success.
Yes, quite so human. So whether you're a tech enthusiast or a real estate professional or just curious about the future of AI and business, this episode is for you.
Stay tuned as we shed light on the digital revolution that's transforming our industry. Let's go get started. All right, welcome back to the Investor Shed Podcast. Your host, Nick Beveridge, here with the one and only co-host, Mr. Kitchen.
Mr. Kitchen, coming at you from the future today, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Beveridge, how we doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good, man.
Doing excellent.
Good. Today, Nick and I are going to be diving into the future of real estate investing, probably powered by AI, and that's what I think we're going to kind of dive into a little bit, right, Nick?
We're going to talk a lot about AI. We're going to keep it conversational, too, and not do like, here's a list of the top 10 AI tools or anything like that. But
right.
This year, 2023, has been pretty insane for AI, for me anyway. I don't know about you, Jeremy, but I've started to notice that almost everything I do lately has AI tied to it in some ways, and I feel like at least my business life, and I'm able to automate like a lot more than I have in the past, and able to do things with less people involved, less time-numbing activities that I used to do. I'm almost scared of the future, but I'm excited at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you're right. What an exciting time to be alive, for sure. Having all these tools available to automate and help make our businesses easier and more streamlined. I agree with you. Like, yeah, definitely the tools are really easy to use and really awesome to use. But what implications does it have towards our way of life, right?
Yeah, and a huge topic over the last few years. I mean, if you guys listen to podcasts out there like Joe Rogan and other big podcasts out there, they talk a lot about how AI is going to destroy a bunch of jobs. And you just kind of sit there and roll your eyes. At least I have, too, because I know that like the only actual job that's ever been replaced by technology is the elevator attendant.
Yeah.
That's what they claim anyway, and that's what they've been saying forever and ever, even I think at the start of 2022, 2023, somewhere in there, they still said it's pretty much been the only job that's actually been replaced publicly by technology. But I've got to say, I don't think that's exactly accurate anymore. And one of the big reasons that I've kind of realized that is because I just let go of the editors of this podcast. Because now with AI, I can click with a button and 80% of the work that they did is now a button that takes 3 seconds to click. And they were excellent at their work. Mm-hmm. They did really good and very time consuming, I'm sure.
Sure.
They spent, at least a couple hours per episode. They had to listen to the whole thing, cut out dead air. They had to go back and forth between the different screens, whoever's talking. They would manually go back and forth. And so it took quite a bit of time for them to do that, and then also generate show notes. All these things that now the platform that we use, you have a little cool tool that came out just called Magic Tools and Magic Editor, and it works really well. I hit a button now, and all that work is actually done.
Yeah.
Even the transcript of the entire show.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. And like you said, too, like our editors, like we loved them. They did a great job. We're so thankful for what they have done for the show. Hopefully, but with the implementation of AI into the show, investors right now, they are definitely worried about what's happening in their wallet. And, we are people in that same category. So we have to make these financial decisions. But onward the podcast goes, and I believe upward as well, because now we just have a little bit more creative control over what goes on in the back end. So...
We do, yeah, and I'm not going to say that all the job's not completely off me either. I still have to upload and do these things that normally the podcast editors would have done. But just I was able to take a few steps back this year and go through my budget and what's really important. And honestly, a few months ago, the editing job was absolutely important.
Yeah.
Had to have somebody else do it. It would have taken an ungodly amount of I don't know, at least 20 40 hours to edit a month's worth of podcasts.
Sure.
And now that time's just not required. And I just found it so interesting. I almost wanted to just talk about AI in general, because it's not just podcast editing that is out, AI is out to get your jobs. It's more than just editing video, right?
Right. And it's not like AI is just out to get your jobs. I strongly believe that AI is here to increase your workflow on your job. I don't see it like taking over people, but I do see it, like I said, increasing workflow, making things a little bit more streamlined in your business. At least in the current iteration of AI.
Another big tool, almost everybody out there, if you haven't heard of Chat GPT yet, you're definitely living under a rock. Almost everybody talks about it. The reason why it gets so much attention is because it offers an insane amount of value to the people that use it. I know Jeremy doesn't quite use it nearly as much as I do.
Right.
But Jeremy, tell us, when exactly do you use ChatGPT, and when has it become useful for you?
Basically, anytime I have questions about something, or if I need to write a script about something, it's just such an easy way to gather information, and then from that, I end up deploying and making my own thing out of it. So, a couple examples, like I've written a couple scripts for some real estate, agents for my photography business, talking about how can you clean up your house to make it show better on photos, right?
Yeah.
You just type in a simple prompt into Chat GPT and say, hey, I'm a real estate photographer looking to help real estate agents in cleaning up their house. Can you spit me out a little script I can make a video out of in 60 seconds or less? You don't even need to be that complex with it. But the thing I like about it is it will learn with you. And if you say, no, I don't like this, or yes, I like that, can we talk more about that? It'll keep spitting out more and more information based off what you're putting into it.
And some of the things I've noticed, like what you've said, you take what you like from it. Not all of it's perfect.
Yep.
But it's certainly, like, I feel like it does, when it comes to creative work or anything online where you have to put together something, it takes 80% at least of the workload off your plate.
Yep.
Because it gives you this solid foundation and framing to work with, where then you can add your creativity to that.
Right.
It not necessarily doesn't, at least in my experience, it doesn't really take all the creativity away. But it definitely does all the mundane tasks for you to be able to add your creativity to it, and then you have something professional to work from.
Right.
If that
like
makes
I said,
sense.
it gives you that kind of that ground template for as far as you put in the idea for what you should be talking about, and then it kind of goes off of your ideas and just allows you to be more creative and more flexible with it, because it allows you to kind of think outside the box as well. Another thing that's really good about Chat GPT, if anyone's doing any sort of SEO, like search engine optimization, ChatGPT is going to be your best friend.
Yes, and tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So say you're trying to, optimize who's finding your content or how they're finding your content. Again, a simple click into ChatGPT saying, like, I'm For example, I'm a real estate investor in North Idaho. I want to optimize hashtags so people find my stuff and engage in conversation better. It will spit you out 30 hashtags, letting you know
Yep.
like how you should be searchable.
Yeah. And something you said there, I mean, you phrased it in a way where it sounded like you've done it before. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think almost anybody, I don't think my mom's going to be asking a question like that to ChatGPT.
Right.
You know, you definitely kind of have to have some understanding in the industry that you're trying to get some help in.
Right.
For instance, what I love doing with like newer real estate investors is just, hey, why don't we at least get you a plan? Because there's a lot of newer investors out there that want to do, they want to get into real estate investing, but they just don't know how to start, what they should be doing, what they should be focusing their time on.
Yeah.
And this could be a great tool to just give you a step-by-step plan of something to work with, and you can always add your creativity towards it again. But for instance, I remember teaching this class a couple of times on how to use AI tools to better your investing business. And one thing I love doing is I'll grab somebody from the crowd and I'll say, who wants to volunteer let's create this plan for investing, like what you're going to do to be able to have something that you can follow step by step and actually meet your investing goals. And so, for instance, I would take somebody and say, okay, let's get your name. How much money do you have? What kind of investing do you want to do? Where do you want to invest? As long as you know like the who, what, why, when, how, all that stuff. And then you type in, instead of just how do I get started investing in real estate? If you type that into ChatGPT, you're going to get an answer.
Right.
But you'll get a better answer tailored towards you if you say, hi, my name is Nick. I have $38,000 in my IRA that I want to start investing in real estate. I really like single family homes, and I want to invest in Memphis, Tennessee. I'd like to invest in areas of Tennessee with lower crime. So if you can find zip codes that have lower crime, could you put together a 2-year plan for me? And I'm typing all this in.
Yep.
Put together a 2-year plan. Tell me what to do step by step. I have 30 minutes I can devote per day, 5 days a week. And then you just start giving it more details about what you want in this plan, and it will spit out a custom tailored plan, exactly what you asked for.
Right.
Like, okay, 30 minutes a day, Monday, the 25th, go and research these zip codes and find a realtor to help you here.
Yeah.
The next day, do this. The next day, do that. And then you actually have a guide that you can use that's custom tailored for you, that you can just knock out these 30-minute tasks. And then in 2 years, you may have the goal that you're asking for. Let's say, and you're still prompting to ChatGPT. In 2 years, I would like to own 11 rentals or 2 rentals or 6. It will custom tailor what your actions have to be to most likely hit that goal with the amount of resources that you have, which I just find incredible. I mean, you can almost get whatever you want in this world if you ask the right questions.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right on that, Nick. Like you said too, like just being hyper specific with any sort of AI about what you're looking for. Because like you said, you can just be like, hey, I'm Nick. I want to invest in real estate. And it'll give you kind of a general outline like, okay, find a property, make money on it by either flipping or renovating type of deal. But that's not exactly catered to the plan you might want. And if you can get hyper specific with it, it'll give you out an actionable plan where you can take steps and move forward.
Yeah. And you'll get naysayers all the time, like, well, you can't, like, how ChatGPT is not going to build a closet for you. I remember that somebody saying that in the crowd when I was teaching this, and I said, well, no, but it might help. And he's like, how? And I said, okay, well, tell me what kind of closet would you want to build? Where and how much of a budget do you have? And we just all of a sudden I said, hey, I'd like to build a closet this weekend. I have a total budget of $700. I need to fill up at least 6 feet on this wall, 4 feet on the other 2 walls. I want custom shelves and a rod. Please tell me step by step exactly what materials I need to get and how much time I should expect to devote to this. And please don't miss a single screw,
Yeah.
And then you can ask more and more details. And I did this live in the class, and it spit out this amazing, instructional chart on, okay, if you want to build out a closet like this, and this is your budget, go and get these items, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Make sure you have these tools. Make sure you have this, and then you're going to step one, go to the store, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's all kind of common sense stuff, but at least you don't have to think about it anymore.
Right.
You don't have to go to the store maybe 3 or 4 times because it just told you exactly what to get and what tools to have, which in a construction project, I know personally, it helps a lot just to have all the right tools and all the right materials the first time. You don't have to keep running back and forth to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. And there's other ways you can utilize that specific as well. So say the people are looking for, they're going to build a closet. You can type in Chat GPT and be like, how should I be vetting contractors? Like I'm trying to build a closet in a house, in a rental. How should I be vetting contractors because I don't want to do this myself? Or how should I be talking to contractors in order to get a bid? And these are all things you can Google as well, but it just spits you out a really nice presented script where you can be like, oh, that makes sense, versus just, a very wide spray of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, ChatGPT. I actually, like a psycho, I use it every day. And you might ask, why and how would you use it every single day? Well, what I stopped doing is I stopped using Google for search because Google will custom tailor your search results based off what advertisers might like you to see.
Sure.
And you may not see exactly what you want to see in Google, and it doesn't give you custom tailored results. It just gives you kind of a broad overview of what most people are also searching for.
Yeah.
But I stopped using Google, and now almost anytime I'm researching anything, I use ChatGPT. And these days, it's using live internet. Just a few months ago, it was all stuff that was only up to 2021. So it was the transformer only had data up to the year 2021, and it couldn't do any live search. It was just based off this large language model and what was uploaded to the internet back then. But today, it will do live searches and figure out accurate data, up to the second, which is amazing.
Nice.
Like just today, I wanted to get a YouTube description with all of our live links, and it took 2 seconds to ask for that, and it spit out something that could have easily taken somebody an hour to write out.
Yeah.
With all the correct links to our different pages and all that stuff. All I had to say was, it's the Investor Shed podcast. Give me live links and all that for all the socials.
Yeah.
And here's a copy of the transcript that I got from my show. Give me a good title and YouTube description with the hashtags. And that alone, I mean, it's once you know what to ask for, if you've done it before, it can make things just incredibly easier and more time efficient to move on to the more important things in life.
Yeah. No, and yeah. I think it's a revolutionary way that we are going to start doing business and keep doing business. I don't see anything of AI going away in the near future because, once people figure this out and what it's capable of, it's just going to be part of our existence. And now here's a philosophical question for you, Nick. Do you think people having this information available at their fingertips makes us, smarter, or does it make us dumber?
I don't think neither.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah. I just think it's just a more accurate way to search and produce information for now.
Sure.
Maybe depending on the type of technology it is. I know, I've been driving a Tesla for the last 5 years, and I have this auto drive feature where if I'm on the highway or a road that has very clear lanes, I can throw it in auto drive. and I barely have to pay attention. It does so much of a better job driving than I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've noticed over the last 5 years, when I hop into a normal vehicle, I'm not a very good driver anymore because I'm so used to half the time I'm driving, the car's driving for me.
Right.
And I'm used to my distractions and paying attention to my, emails and that kind of stuff. Horrible,
Stuff you shouldn't be doing if you don't have an auto-driving Tesla.
doing.
Right.
Right. Yes. But, the technology makes me feel comfortable enough to be able to focus on other things, which I do not recommend to anybody out there, but it is an AI tool that I feel like has made me a worse driver.
Right.
Because I just do less of it.
Right. And that's exactly my point I'm trying to bring up. You said it doesn't really make us smarter or dumber, but are we lacking the critical thinking now that we're having computers do it for us?
Well, I mean, I think you can argue also maybe when something else is prompting you or writing in a precise way, instead of you just typing out a full email, thinking that it's awesome and hitting send, it's nice to run it, what you would send in an email through a system like this that's going to check you for errors and maybe just sound better for the situation. And then you can read it over again. And then I think it might train you to maybe speak better English by writing better English because that's been my experience anyway. I don't think, coming straight out of high school, I was a stellar writer. I think it was practice over time. And now I have this coach basically called Chat GPT that can help me write better. And it's not like I'm just copying and pasting and I don't read what's on it.
Right.
I think it helps me realize the details sometimes I forget when I'm communicating through text.
Sure.
In some sort of fashion.
Yeah. And
What do you
even
think,
just,
Jeremy?
Yeah. Another example real quick on that, it depends definitely on if, again, this makes you smarter or dumber, because I think it depends on how you're applying it. But even in Canva, so Canva is like a design platform, obviously, where you can design little templates or whatever. They're integrating AI into their software. So I was making some marketing stuff for my business.
Yep.
And I'm not the best presenter of information sometimes. Sometimes when it's on paper, I'm like, yeah, look at me. I do this, right? But how do I make it, feature and benefit impactful? You can just click a button now on Canva and it'll say rewrite what I said and make it better.
Yeah.
And it'll spit you out a more professional summary of what you just wrote, which was really nice actually.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. We're not professionals here, but we're trying our best. And I think having these tools available it makes good people even better, especially if you're going to use it like that. Going into real estate a little bit, Nick, is AI, can it analyze real estate deals yet?
I haven't tried that, but it's definitely helped me a lot with analyzing a lot of boring jargon that sometimes I need help with. When I get a title commitment now, instead of not reading through 19 pages of stuff that's usually boring and I can hardly understand any of it, I can just copy and paste it into ChatGPT and just say, hey, is there anything in here I should really be concerned with?
Sure.
Or dumb this down for me. Explain this to me like I'm a 12-year-old.
Right.
I actually had I had this cell phone property listing that I was a cell phone tower property that we sold over the summer. It was a very hard property to sell. It was on 10 acres, and the cell phone tower was leasing the land long term with the seller already took a buyout. So when we were selling the property, reselling to somebody else, there's this 100-year lease that went along with the property that they would have really no benefits of. But it was a very long, complicated, sticky lease with multiple variations. So we had to find all the publicly recorded ones and then whatever they had. And it was a lot. I mean, we're talking 90 pages of stuff to go through.
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to prompt ChatGPT that, hey, I'm going to be copying and pasting a few pages at a time, all this lease of this property that like just like I explained the uniqueness of this property. Could you explain this to me as if I'm a 12-year-old once it's all uploaded, and condense it down into about 2 pages?
Yeah, I think that's a
And it did
really great way to optimize your search. By the way, I know you said it right now, but when you say explain it to me like I'm 12,
Yes.
because in the world of like contracts and liens and leases and everything that goes along with this, explain it to me like I don't know what I'm talking about, because we can be experts in some areas, but we don't need to be experts in all areas.
Yeah. So, but by me doing that, it gave me a much better understanding of this lease that nobody was going to read. The sellers didn't even want to read it. It was too long. Nobody wanted to read it. We had it available as an attachment to the MLS, but it was ridiculous. Nobody was going to go through, a book of a lease of another property and to barely understand what's happening.
Right.
But I just told my seller what I did. Hey, I pasted the whole thing to Chat GPT. I had it explain it to me in a couple of pages, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "This is my understanding of what happened. Does that sound right?" And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds exactly what they explained to us."
Nice.
But it was a tool to go through all the mundane stuff of complex things that really aren't that important and like pull out what's really important. And I can go on different examples there too. There was recently, I'm involved with this development deal with Lennar where we're selling 5 acres, 38 townhome lots to the largest home builder in the country, and we've been going back and forth on this deed that we're getting some non-refundable earnest money from them, but they wanted to record a deed against our property, and one of our legal guys on our team kind of rewrote the deed, and the legal guy over on Lennar's team that was modifying they both wanted different stuff. So I was able to, and then one of the Lennar guys said, "Hey, can you tell me what's the difference between these?" And I was able to say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to paste 2 different deeds here that we're going to record. Can you point out the exact differences in these contracts?" I did that, and it took 30 seconds, and then I was able to copy and paste what ChatGPT found to be the exact differences. And he was pretty impressed. He's like, "Oh, wow, thank you. This is actually exactly what I wanted to see. This saves everybody time."
Yeah.
That was probably an hour's worth of time savings for that guy, that he could just look at the bullet points. These are the differences. So did ChatGPT miss something? I don't know.
Right.
But it certainly helped.
Yeah. It's important to know that it's not, it's obviously not a lawyer, it's not a trained tax professional,
No.
but it is a good starting block for finding something out. And as long as you're taking it with a grain of salt, like whatever you're searching, like, yeah, of course it could be wrong, but it's also more right than most things.
And that's what I've just accepted. There's plenty of people that are hesitant to believe what they see on the internet or believe what AI says. But how often are they hesitant about what they say?
Right.
I don't exactly believe everything that comes out of my mouth because it may not be accurate.
Right.
But it's nice to have somebody, that's smart. I believe that ChatGPT 4 is smarter than I am.
Yes. I believe it's smarter than you too.
And I've accepted that. And that's why I can, with full confidence, use it. And I can know that I could be wrong.
Yep.
But I feel like this is a better way of presenting my work with the help of supercomputers.
Yeah. And that's important to know. Like, we can speak with such conviction that we don't think we're wrong. Obviously, like I like to be knowledgeable in certain areas. I don't claim to be an expert in many. But having just a thing behind my back, kind of reiterating what I'm saying and helping me convey my message a little bit through is really nice.
Yeah.
AI for sure. Like I'm leaning a lot towards information optimization, and I think that's just a really good way to put where AI is right now.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. So what do you mean by that?
Just information optimization, kind of rounding back to everything we've been talking about, right? So again, we're human. We're not I'm not a professional speaker by any means, but using these tools to optimize how we're conveying our information to others and make it the most streamlined as possible. And I think that's just where AI is super duper powerful right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I do want to kind of like, we touched on it just a little bit, but I wanted to talk just a little bit more about like the potential of AI analyzing a real estate deal. And this is all hypothetical, but I think like AI could do that, right?
Probably. I think if it absolutely, yeah. If you just copy and paste a contract
right
into Chat GPT and say, hey, I'm looking to buy this under these terms in this market with this amount of money, and my plan is to hold it for this long. Tell me how much cash I'm going to need and what kind of returns I should make based off what you see here.
Right. Please include interest, taxes, and insurance, right? And management fees, and like I'm sure it could spit you out a pretty good number, actually.
Well, not only that, you can ask for a spreadsheet.
Right. Okay.
You can say, hey, and based off what I'm asking for here, can you put it all in a spreadsheet for me? That way I can make sure that the numbers look accurate.
Will it split you out a spreadsheet?
Yes. It will create a file that you can download. And because I've asked many times for spreadsheets.
Okay.
And it will just, it will create a file.
Okay.
Like recently, on my team, I wanted to follow up. I noticed we got so many of these leads from Zillow over the last year and other different lead sources. And I haven't really been hearing much of a follow up from many of the agents on how the Zillow leads did.
Sure.
So I had ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, can you create a spreadsheet for my agents for lead follow up on the clients, at least give 200 fields, and we need fields for everything that you would expect in lead follow up, like including, did you put it in the database? Is it on a campaign? Did you show did you actually reach out to the client? Did you make contact? Yes or no? And I started, just please don't leave any of this out and add to it.
Right.
And it created a full big spreadsheet that I was able to download, upload, tweak just a few little things, and then hit share with my agents for them to upload or add their contacts to it and fill it out. Now, I could have easily built out my own spreadsheet just the way I wanted it, just the way it was in my head. However, I got to tell you, I probably saved 70% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just by doing that. And then it was already all kind of laid out the way I wanted it. And then I was able to make some extra little tweaks. So it's not always perfect, but I got to tell you, I always kind of picture it as like a house, because I've built houses. Would you rather build from the ground up or renovate a house? Or assuming, I feel like with a lot of what I do with ChatGPT and AI tools, it's like the house is already built perfectly.
Right.
But not finished.
Yeah.
The foundation's perfect for exactly what I asked for. It's framed exactly the way I needed. Maybe even the windows are in it and it's drywalled.
Yeah.
But now I got to go figure out what paint I want. Maybe move a room here and there. Add the colors, add the flooring, add the kitchen. But all that work of, going from the ground up, pouring that foundation, doing the insulation, doing the framing, doing the windows, all this mundane work without creativity that needs to be done. And then, that's 70% of the job right there.
Yeah.
So now I could just focus on the creative 20 to 30% of the job. And I try to do that with almost everything. That way I just want to get used to the technology,
right,
and get good at it, because I definitely have felt the time saving results. Because I've done all this stuff in the past of creating my own spreadsheets,
sure,
and writing my own emails and writing my own contracts and writing my own JVs. But it's so much nicer to have all the prep work done that's almost perfect, and then you can add to it.
Right. I think that's a really good point, Nick. And honestly, I didn't know that Chat GPT could spit you out a spreadsheet. I think that's a total game changer too. Like I hate making spreadsheets. I am awful at it. They are very clunky. But having like a system where I could just tell it what I want, and tell it how I want it delivered, and have it spit out the results I want would be fantastic.
Yeah, and you don't know, unless you ask, you don't know what you're going to get in life. And I didn't know that it can send me a spreadsheet either unless I asked, until one day I asked for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you create a spreadsheet? I said, yes, I can. Okay.
Beauty. That's awesome.
Let's do one like this.
What else have you learned that AI can, spit out or do for you to help you integrate into your business?
There's a lot that contract, building not purchase and sale agreements, but a lot of side agreements and different, like I think the most recent contract that I had to put together was with my RV park. I needed a formal agreement with my property manager that I hired. And I wanted, I don't know if I can find it here. Might be a waste of time to try to find that.
Yeah.
But I wanted an actual contract between myself, the owner of this RV park, and this guy named Bill and his wife that are going to be living and working at the RV park. And I wanted to make sure that we had an agreement and a good understanding of what their responsibilities were going to be and what their compensation is going to be.
Yeah.
And I even had two options on there right on the contract that they can circle an initial one. And I had two different compensation plans.
Okay.
One that was more, you'll be paid off the net profits of the previous month of 15%, or you can have a base salary of, you get to stay there for free. And then anytime we're over 50% occupancy to 60, you get 500 a month. Anytime you're blah, 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 up to like, I remember up to 1200 or something like that.
Okay.
But it put all that together with me just rambling off my head. That's what's great about this tool. You could just ramble your ideas as you're typing. Now I'm just rambling of everything I think I want on this contract. And then I also like to include, and please ask me what I may not be thinking of. Please ask me any questions that I may not be thinking of that's important to have in this contract. So you gotta know what to ask,
right?
Even if you don't know what to ask. So you gotta ask. You gotta ask it to ask you sometimes other questions.
Yeah, prompt me. How can I help you get the information you need?
Yeah,
and that's a huge benefit, of course. So if anybody's listening and not using AI, like, ask it the questions, be specific, and also ask for feedback. Like, hey, am I asking this in a good way? Am I missing anything? How can I help get you better information so you can help me better?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Very cool. Out
Another
of curiosity,
thing I've been using.
Out of curiosity, real quick, how did they sign that contract? Do you want to talk about that, or which option did they choose?
They chose option one, which is just they get to stay there for free, and then they don't get paid anything unless there's at least 50% occupancy.
Cool.
And I printed it off and I brought it to them because they're an old couple, and I left it for them in the storage room to review and pick which one they wanted.
Nice.
Or call me if they don't like either option.
Yeah, we can figure out something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So here, and then another thing with that RV park, there's so many things that I used Chat GPT for to help me get this RV park up and running.
Yeah.
And for instance, I'm just looking kind of back at my history. I had it write up a bunch of policies, park policies, bathroom policies, pet policies. And I basically said, hey, you already know about this. I copied and pasted the description from the listing of this RV park. That way it already knew everything that it had. Right. Like 23 RV spots, a 3,000 gallon dump tank. It has 4 bathrooms. One's an ADA. There's coin operated laundry. There's a trail over here. So it already knows all about this RV park. Yeah. And then I was able to ask for, give me some good pet policies. Give me some good, all these policies that people will agree to when they sign up online to
of course
their RV spot. So I don't have to think off the top of my head what should be in here. I've never done this before. Right. So it's nice to have a supercomputer tell me what should be in these policies based off what other people have used. Sure. So it's not like, it's pretty incredible. That's all I got to say. It's a huge time saver, and I feel very protected using it versus not.
Sure. And absolutely, you should feel protected using that for not. I would counteract the argument saying, like, you should use ChatGPT to maybe write these things. But also, if you want the maximum amount of protection, obviously get an attorney involved and have them run through your contract with a fine-tooth comb. But I think what you're doing is a very good starting block, and you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's with that, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
So, what else have you used ChatGPT for?
I haven't used it for anything like you've used it for, obviously. Like I said, mostly what I'm using it for is information optimization. Like, how can I convey my message in a better way to potentially get more clients or get in front of more people so I don't sound like a boring slug when I'm talking to you?
You're not a boring slug.
I'm not a boring slug. It's because we have ChatGPT, ladies and gentlemen. But this is obviously only one AI tool that we're talking about. There's so many out there. Even in the photography business, there's like there's video and photo sharpening AI tools now.
Okay.
That's
So like actual like enhancing image
yeah.
is a real thing. Remember when it like they make fun of that in movies because like that's not a real thing.
Right. You can't do that. You absolutely can do that.
Okay, tell us about that because that's something I thought maybe one day would actually come.
Yeah.
But how do you enhance? How does it enhance images?
So I'm not sure exactly how the technology goes in. It's on my radar. There's a company called Topaz AI, and they offer some sharpening packages. I haven't actually done them, but I've seen the results. So it starts off, you have kind of a granulated, blurry photo, and there's sliders like, okay, this is what it turns it into. Actually, I can send you an example. I used some on, you remember when we did Christmas photos at Keller Williams this year, and you stopped by with your imaginary lunchbox to take a photo with me?
I remember that, yeah.
So you were so grainy because I was high light sensitivity. I wasn't using my flashes yet. I'm just like, all right, I'll get a photo of you just for fun. It looked like crap. And then I ran it through an AI sharpener, and it looked very good.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think you were going to use that photo because you weren't even set up.
Yeah. I can send you a before and after the show if you want. It's pretty wild, the difference. So
yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, and I just did a basic like AI sharpen, remove all the noise, and I did it. I'm like, that looks smooth as hell.
Wow.
Yeah, mostly what I use it for, those, like I said, information optimization. I know there are more applications than that available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you see AI going in the future? Like what's the limit on artificial intelligence?
So I listened to a pretty interesting podcast yesterday. It was kind of scary. Yeah, they're basically just convinced. Yeah, like it's it's going to take over the world, and we're not really sure what that's going to look like, but it's going to take it over very quickly because at the rate that it's expanding and getting better is pretty insane. So Chat GPT like 3.5 that was out just a year ago or so. Its newer one, ChatGPT 4, is I think it's 10 times smarter than the previous version.
Okay.
And now it can go online and analyze photos. I know the next step is going to be it's going to be able to analyze videos. And no company, what it's not just OpenAI that's leading all this.
Right.
There's all these different companies out there that have their own AI that they've been working on.
Yeah.
Keller Williams Realty, the brokerage I've been at, they've been working on this their AI platform since 2017, I believe.
Okay.
They've been working on a digital assistant. It's not quite perfected yet, and they said it's going to take a long time.
Sure.
But they had to get started on it early. But there's every company out there. I mean, it's like it's a race because they know that that AI tools are just going to take over a lot of tasks.
Yeah.
Any kind of task that you can think of that humans do that's not physical yet. And all the physical stuff is going to come too. Like Tesla is building these robots, humanoid looking robots that they want those robots to help out with tasks. So I think in the future, we're going to be living, I personally think, from for the most part, we'll be living in an abundance, and it will be a very unique, weird time.
Yeah.
Because I know, like now, living in 2023, I feel like we're living in abundance.
Yeah, yeah.
On so many different aspects. Like, I can basically have whatever I want in 2 days, just going on Amazon and have it delivered to my house.
Isn't that
right?
wild?
It's wild. The amount of content that's out there, like music and movies and all that stuff, you can have in an instant. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to go to Blockbuster. Like,
Yeah.
we're living in interesting times where people are just depressed, but they have everything they want.
Right.
And it kind of reminds me of, like, have you ever played Grand Theft Auto and you play with a bunch of cheat modes on where you can't be killed and you can have everything you want, all the guns you want, all the money you want.
Yeah.
And then it just gets boring.
Right. You don't have to work for anything because you have everything, and that's a weird spot to be in.
So I think we're going to run into those weird challenges. Me personally, I think everybody's going to suffer tremendously. I think people are going to go from physical suffering to mental suffering.
Yeah.
Where they're just going to have an abundance of physical stuff. I don't believe that world leaders are going to destroy us with nukes and stuff, because I think they like living here too. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Because I think all that's possible with AI. They can, you can do a cyber attack and just shut the whole world down.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. But I think people are going to be living in a time where there's going to be almost too much. And it's all going to be a mental struggle. How do they get from day to day knowing that they have everything they can ever want?
Yeah.
And there's no challenges anymore in life,
Right.
And building anything in life, you've got to have resistance to enjoy the journey of building.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to muscle, there's resistance training.
Right.
And when it comes to, building your character, it's usually from failing and screwing up and learning from your mistakes. I don't know. Am I rambling here too much? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I absolutely get what you're saying, Nick. To add to that a little bit, like you're saying, like I do think there's going to be a big depression wave, unfortunately, because people have all this information directly at their fingertips. They're not actually like going out to achieve things. Things are just brought to them now, right? And when that happens, you have no sense of self-worth, or you have no sense of accomplishment because you didn't do anything.
Yes.
And kind of what I envision, and this could be a huge mishap, but who knows what the future holds. Have you ever seen the movie WALL-E, where all the people in the future are just kind of sitting back in their space chairs, not doing anything because they all just have information screens in front of them?
I've seen those scenes. Yeah. I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen, it's like in the intro, right?
Yeah, I think it goes throughout the whole movie too, but it's these basically human civilization just like is on a ship, and it's basically like a whole vacation. Nobody ever gets out of their chairs to go walk anywhere, go get food. They just drive their little motorized chairs all over. Yep. So you see a lot of overweight people, and you see a lot of depressed people looking at screens, and that's absolutely something that could happen.
Yeah.
But I think like obviously like people in general, like we're gonna have winners and we're gonna have leaders continuously born and bred, basically. People are gonna strive to do more, and people are gonna strive to be different, and nothing's gonna stop that. So we're gonna have some people who are rising above everything and able to not be so connected with this technology stuff.
Yeah. So I think personally, like, what I hope at least is that everything will become easier and we'll have new challenges. And the new challenges will be space exploration.
Right.
I believe that that's totally a possibility, that instead of us all just becoming fat people in wheelchairs, that we will just have something new to look forward to and something new to build on, because everything here on the surface level is going pretty good.
Right.
That's my hope anyway, because I feel like it's a possibility. There's an abundance of energy coming from the sun, and that can power, the solar power, and then you can have unlimited actual energy coming from the sun. And then with robots and all the new AI being able to do pretty much all the actual tasks for us to live. I believe that food can be grown in abundance. I believe that we can have abundance here.
Yes.
But if we don't strive for something new as a culture or as a society or humans, don't strive for something new, because that used to get us from day to day, is like earning those things,
Right.
Going out and hustling so that you can get your next meal.
Yeah.
Or try to store for the next 30 years and looking forward to all that. But then one day, what if that's just not an issue anymore, and the government does actually just give everybody a few $1,000 a month to live on?
Right.
That could happen. And then, like we talked about just a few minutes ago, there could be a wave of depression unless there's something new that people can look forward to.
Right.
And I think that's going to be key in people's mental health, is to have something to look forward to other than just like the new season of Orange is the New Black.
Right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
that show's still out.
I have we don't watch it, but some people do. I think you're right though. Like, people need to achieve more than what our current state is. And if you're not striving to achieve more, you're going to fall behind, and you're going to get depressed because you're not achieving and you're not striving to do anything. And that, I think, answers a lot of depression in our civilization. So,
yeah, I mean, how often do you see a depressed person that's like constantly busy? They're out there, but like a truly depressed person that like has got to shovel their snow in the morning, got to get to work, putting food on the table, and out there striving for something greater than them, giving back to the community, donating with their time or money. People that are out there staying busy tend to be less depressed than those that are sitting at home.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you there, Nick. Even on just like down days, like if you take a down day and you don't do anything, like I never feel good after I don't do anything.
No, I start feeling horrible after an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, like if I go outside and I shovel my driveway, or I help the neighbors shovel their driveway, and I come back in and then I meal prep for the day, and then I stay active and I make an effort.
Yeah.
It definitely lessens my depressive state, but I cannot speak for everyone, and I know it's a major thing. So,
yeah, I feel like getting uncomfortable is good, and comfort is typically bad.
Yeah,
even when it comes to something as simple as shoes.
Yeah,
if the more comfortable shoes you have, the less muscles your feet are going to gain to be able to handle walking long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's a. Man, we're going way deep here, but that's okay. We can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good. And like you said, though, like getting comfy, being uncomfortable. That's a common saying you'll hear a lot from real estate investors, because your growth only happens when you're uncomfy. If you're comfortable, you're going to stay at your comfort level.
Yeah, you're not doing anything when you're comfortable, except for maybe watching an intriguing show.
Like Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
I had an idea, but this might take some time. What if we asked Chat GPT the last questions of the podcast? like if you recommend one book or whatever.
If you can recommend one business book to change a life.
Live Chat GPTing on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Would it be? All right, it's thinking.
What's it gonna tell us?
Recommending just one business book that has the potential to be life-changing is a challenge, as different books resonate differently with each individual. I'm trying to read this as it's like moving downward, so it's hard to read.
Out stuff right now.
Yeah.
I was just curious if it would say like or say like Rich Dad Poor Dad or Built to Last or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And this is the thing. ChatGPT knows me and a lot about me, so it's answering a question tailored towards me.
Right.
However, given your background in real estate investing and your ambition to grow as a leader and influence in your field, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey would be a top recommendation.
Cool.
And then it gives another paragraph explanation of why. Yeah. So what else should we ask live on air?
We can ask it the $30 million question. If it was given $30 million to a bank account, how would it spend that money?
If Chat GPT was given 30 million
We always ask these to guests. We figure we might as well ask the AI guest on this
whatever you want, what would you spend it on? All right. As an AI developer,
it's going to be like, I can't do that.
Have personal desires or needs. I don't use money or possessions. However,
I knew it would give you a however. However,
oh shoot, I said 30,000. Sorry, I meant. Sorry, I meant 30 million.
Or you can even ask it like, if I had this money gifted, what should I spend it on?
How would you spend it to better the world?
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm a computer and I don't have a physical need for money.
With $30 million, the potential to create a significant positive impact on the global scale is substantial. Here are some ways. Education, innovations. Invest in education that has multiplying effects. Okay. So it believes in compounding interest, basically.
Yeah, as one should.
Funding scholarships, building schools in underserved areas. Healthcare improvements, environmental conservation, fighting hunger and poverty, affordable housing, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Everything that a beauty pageant would cover.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do we want to ask
I'm
any
not going
more?
to go over this whole thing because there's a lot.
Yeah, it'll keep
I'll be
spitting out
reading for the next
information
10
based off
minutes.
who you are, too. Yeah, I think this is a good positive episode, Nick. I think, again, if you're not using AI in your business, there's a chance you're going to get left behind, unfortunately, because the people who are using AI are continually trying to raise the bar of their own business and their own lives.
Yes. And just be so cautious out there of your long-term plans and does it fit into an AI model?
Right.
Can you want to be able to use it so it doesn't end up using you?
Yes.
That's my recommendations out there. Make sure you use it, utilizing the technology that's out there available for you. Get a really good, clear understanding of how it works, and try not to be ignorant about what's actually coming, because I think this is bigger than the internet itself.
Yeah.
I think this is the next big thing that's going to really help us, or it's really going to harm a lot of people.
Sure.
But I think it's going to help people. Me personally.
I hope it helps people too. And like I said, just be as specific and clear as you can. Ask it for feedback, like Nick said, and use it so it doesn't end up using you. That's a good point. So
And ask better questions.
yeah,
If you want better answers in life, ask better questions.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Should we take this episode out of here today, Nick?
Well, I think everybody's hungry. So what kind of food should they run out and eat?
We're going to talk about that in the beginning of the episode. So stay tuned.
We're going to do an intro.
Stay tuned for the intro, because obviously you fast forwarded past that. Go back and listen to the intro. We're going to talk all about the food. But for now, what we should talk about is if you found this episode useful or helpful, or you found us to be intriguing, cool people, which we are, you're going to want to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. We love seeing reviews on both. Also, keep the YouTube comments coming. We love when the audience interacts with us. Looking forward to building more cool things with you all and making more cool episodes for you to enjoy.
Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for checking out the Investor Shed podcast. If you enjoyed your time, make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow along on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at The Investor Shed for shorts and promos about each episode. Do you want to be a guest or know someone who has great real estate investing advice and stories? Reach out to us at theinvestorshed@gmail.com.